Hi, internet people. So on tonight's episode of Stitchers, we have Russian intrigue. Well, we had Russian intrigue. Okay, so I know this episode does not go up the day after currently of Stitchers, but in the most recent episode of Stitchers, there was a dead girl in a pool. She's found after drowning and they have to stitch in, and it's all connected to a bunch of intense Russian, Russian business stuff. So her boyfriend is related to this like huge mogul in Russia, and it's all connected to that. The whole case is. So while the case is important because it's a Stitch situation, I don't know if I'd say it's super vital to my recapping. A lot of other relationship connected things happen that are sort of spurred on by this specific case, but in essence, the case is really, girl is dead because Russia. We find out that it's all, I'm just going to reveal the whole thing out of order because this is a recap. And it doesn't matter what order I go in, it's fine. We find out that she was drowned because she refused to plant drugs on her boyfriend because another group that wanted to reopen negotiations about a steel company wanted the son detained so his father would be forced to leave Russia because he very rarely leaves Russia. And then he winds up having to leave anyway because of the murder and all of that. So stuff happens, everything works out for a random Russian guy and his son, except for the fact that the son's girlfriend died, which is terrible. But that's really the gist of the case. They have to hunt down some clues though. So we learn that Kirsten is actually reacting a lot more to certain stimuli in her stitches. So while she's stitched in, her vitals actually start shifting a lot when sex happens. The episode does actually focus a lot on her having issues in the stitch and there being sort of this like emotional connection that hasn't been there before. Yeah, it's not, there's some glitching that happens. She also has a harder time focusing and actually loses code stuff. She's like, she thinks she saw a password and she didn't see it correctly. So a lot of this stitch is focusing on how she's having issues connecting with it. Cameron actually thinks it has something to do with, her previous issues, with the stitch she was in for too long. And he's also sort of like shaking and having some problems, so I'm wondering if it's a connected problem because the two of them were connected and there's stuff happening, but we don't know yet. So that's really the case and sort of Kirsten stitching issues. There's a ton more happening though. Linus wants to bring Ivy in because he thinks she'd be really helpful. Maggie is definitely against all of that, but he goes to see Ivy to thank her for letting him get a hold of his family so he could find out what was going on with his dad, even though that was really sad. He and Ivy actually wind up setting up a date and he's about to go out with her at a certain point. Yes, but Stitchin gets in the way. You'll see. So that's happening. Cameron and Kirsten, who are getting closer, I mean, they're dating. They're official boyfriend-girlfriend, but they're like, they have a date planned because Camille mentions to Cameron this is the first time that Kirsten has had emotions really, so you're like her first real boyfriend. And so he wants to have like a talk with her, and Kirsten's like, why do you want to have a talk with me? What? Okay. And then she's like, oh, so like the talk. I've never had one of those before. And like they have a dinner plan to like talk about it, and then they have to go get clues out at the zoo, because she heard a carousel and it's at the zoo. All of this stuff happens where like everyone is supposed to be doing something and it all gets messed up. But the super exciting thing that happens, and the thing that I really want to talk about, Camille has a girlfriend now. Camille totally has a girlfriend now. I'm so excited. Okay, so they've been teasing that Camille's new love interest would be a woman because it was revealed last season that Camille's character is bisexual. And this new character is introduced. Maggie sends Camille to go talk to the ME because they need to know if there's any DNA on the body. And Camille goes, and this like super gorgeous woman walks in with like leather jacket, very 1950s like biker vibe. She has perfect hair. Her name, I actually screenshotted it so I would get all of it. Her name, the character's name is Amanda. Yes. Amanda Weston, and she's played by Anna Akana? I probably said that wrong. She's actually huge on YouTube and I should know who she is. I'm sorry. But she's like super flirty and it's great. They're like snarky and flirty and it's adorable. She actually says, I'm gonna call you with the results. And she's like, you can't text me? Like what? She's like, no, I'm gonna call you. And then she calls her from a club where she winds up going. It turns out she's a DJ. The two of them drink whiskey together. Then Camille has to go back to the lab because Maggie calls them all in. And she's drunk. And it's hilarious. She's like, there was swapping of DNA at the club. What? It's so funny. And then Fisher also shows up at that point and was having oysters with his lady. And there's a funny oysters joke that happens, and I was dying. But everyone's night gets sort of messed up. Linus does actually have a sort of date with Ivy where she helps him crack the code on this phone, which is what reveals the whole case thing. And so, like, relationship stuff is being cemented and sort of, like, thrown around. Later in the episode, while they're investigating, Linus thinks Ivy would be really helpful. Actually, Kristen thinks Ivy would be really helpful, and Linus agrees that he thinks she should help more. So Ivy used to do banking stuff, and they need to know about Russian bank records, and so they actually bring Ivy in, and there's a vote, and okay. So Linus knows that someone is talking to Camille because he goes over in the morning to, like, check on her, and he tells her that we should trust people until they prove that we can't. There's an actual phrase, it's like, people should be trusted until proven otherwise, or we should trust people until proven otherwise. And Camille totally says that, sort of, like, stiltedly, when Ivy is brought in. And then later we learn that Maggie is going to be going to DC because she's taking over some of Blair's stuff, and then she gives her job to Cameron because of what Camille said. And I felt really bad because Camille was, like, waiting for her to say it was her, because literally they called her in so she could look up the phone number for a dead body. Like, she was literally called in to use a tablet, and she was honestly like, you can't use a tablet. So, like, she's been doing so much for the lab, and I understand that's, like, one slip up, and no, they're not really allowed to trust people, but literally, they trusted, like, they trusted Ivy before. Like, this is not out of the ordinary for them trusting Ivy, even though she's connected to, the dad, who is not good. But it just, I was like, Camille, she wants it so bad. And the problem for these recaps from this point forward is Camille is my favorite character on Stitchers because she's played by Allison Scagliotti, who is an amazing human being, and I love her face. I have loved her in everything I've seen her in. She was supposed to be Cassie Hack if they ever adapted the Hack Slash comics, and I still want that to happen, and I need someone to make that so because of things. But I love her, and the more time she gets on screen, the more focused I'm going to be on her plots than the actual plots of the show, which I'm sure is a problem for some people. It's not a problem for me, but that's going to mean that my recaps are going to get kind of wonkier than normal. I bet. I'm just gonna bet you, because they're gonna get real Camille focused. Hardcore. I love all the characters, but Camille is totally my favorite. So I'm excited to see where her relationship with the ME goes. Like, I'm so psyched. I'm so psyched about this. They kissed at the end of the episode, and I was super pumped. Oh my goodness, I was super pumped. I'm gonna ship that until the end of days. But there is another thing I haven't mentioned. We do see Kirsten at a pod thingy. I'm pretty sure it's her mom, but they haven't said yes or no. It was at the beginning of the ep and the end of the ep. But I'm thinking it's her mom. I think they found her mom, which is good for Kirsten. I don't know what that means for everybody else. Like, I don't know what that's gonna mean. In the previews for next week, it's revealed that the closer Cameron and Kirsten get, the more her stitching is getting messed up. So the emotional aspect of Kirsten is not good. Which, like, it's good, but it's messing up her actual ability to do her job, which is not good. Anyway, I feel like that was really long because I got really excited about Camille, like super excited about Camille getting more time on screen because I love Camille. But anyway, let me know what you thought of the episode below. I got a little babbly. This one's probably pretty long. If you watched this, let me know that you watched it on Twitter, because I know for a fact that the last one of these did not get that many views. I'm aware. I'm filming anyway. So let me know if you watch it. You can comment below, see me on Twitter, I'm at Clef Notes. You can find me on my blog, clefnotes.wordpress.com, or for the Nerdy Girl Express, thenerdygirlexpress.com, and or on their Snapchat, the Nerdy Girl EXP. Bye, Internet people.